mini LED versus OLED. Now, these are two incredible TV panels out there that have their own strengths and weaknesses, and one's not pretty much better than the other. Let's just put it that way. So, if you've been a big supporter on this channel, then you know that TVs is one of the most popular things that we discuss on this channel. And one thing I am going to have to say is that we have climbed all the way up to the top, up to mini LED as well as OLED. Now, they have their own strengths and weaknesses, like OLED has infinite contrast and better, richer colors, as well as some, in some cases, better clarity. But when it comes to mini LED has better brightness and still does have some good colors. But also, when it comes to HDR brightness is definitely the best on a mini LED because of the brighter that the panel can actually get because of its brightness. So, it doesn't matter if you go with an OLED or you go with a mini LED, even if it's for normal usage or, like, let's say gaming, or just for, like, watching movies, or in an extent, maybe you get it for, like, a casual place, such as your bedroom or whatever, but you just mainly watch TV shows or movies in your bedroom. Both are still going to be very, very good. Now, a lot of people I know are going to say that gaming is going to be the best on an OLED, and I do have to suspect that that is kind of right. But it's also not 100% right, because some gamers out there want to get mini LED because they want to get, the brightness and make sure that their games absolutely pop in terms of, like, colors and HDR highlights, and a mini LED is going to do just that. Now, the low input latency is one of the big differences between mini LED and OLED. Now, when it comes to low input latency for gaming, you are getting the best response time and the lowest input, latency possible on an OLED. But with LED TVs, they're actually getting pretty darn close to where even if you was to play, like, let's say for an example, you have an LG C1 in your living room, but you got something like the TV behind us, you have a Hisense U8H in your bedroom, and you casually play games in your bedroom, but your living room is where you spent most of your time pretty much gaming. Well, even when you go back into, like, back to back, I was mumbling there, I was trying to say back and forth, but even if you go back to back between an LG C1 or the Hisense U8H, you're literally going to still feel a really good responsive feel in gaming. Like, this TV right here can actually do 15 milliseconds at all 4K, 1080p, all resolutions at 60 Hertz. But the LG C1 can go as low as anywhere between 10 to 11 milliseconds. Now, that might seem like a difference, but when in reality, it's not really that big of a difference. Like, as long as a TV is like 25 milliseconds or lower, you ain't going to experience any sort of delay while basically action on the screen as soon as you press a button. So, even with a few milliseconds, you're not going to tell a difference. But, like I stated, there are some gamers out there that prefer OLED because they don't have a lot of windows and a lot of lights coming in, and they want to get the best clarity and colors as much as possible. But there are some people, gamers out there, that prefer the mini LED because they want to get the best brightness and they want to get the best HDR highlights that really pop on their games. So, no matter what you choose, one is not going to be better than the other. And honestly, I think that OLED and mini LED is our two favorite TV panels out there. Like, we've been talking about OLED over the last couple of months, and we was actually going to get a couple new OLEDs, like the Samsung S90C or the S90D or the LG C4 or B4. We were talking about getting a couple more OLEDs so that way we would have backup OLEDs, but now that's actually changed in the last week or so because of the fact that we are going to be trying to move, hopefully in the next upcoming months, to, like I mentioned on our previous video, just a few houses down the road. But we are going to save up money, and we are going to take a break for about a couple months so that way we can save money in case if we do get lucky to move. And then I think in September, our first TV that we're going to start on with a leasing is going to be the Hisense U8N. Now, the Hisense U8H behind us that is turned on, it's been a wonderful TV. We've now had it for well over a year, going on a year and 4 months just about. And the U8N seems like it's going to be even a bigger step upgrade over the U8H. It's going to have better contrast. It's going to have even better brightness, even though this thing can get pretty darn bright as it is. Like, you can already see like how bright it is on our screen. Like, you could just see how bright it is behind us. And the U8N is going to get brighter and also have better HDR brightness. But it's actually supposed to be a QD mini LED panel, and that's something that we have just learned this past couple of weeks, that now when you look at TCL's mini LEDs like the QM8 from 2023, which is the model that we currently have in our game room, and then this year's QM8 as well as now a QM7, TCL has now called those QD mini LEDs. So I honestly do have to give it to TCL the credit, because personally, their mini LEDs I think are better than Hisense, but with the U8N, now that's considered a QD mini LED. And honestly, it probably is going to have a slightly bit more colors that absolutely pop, and I'm very excited to see how good it looks, and especially the contrast ratio, like being almost hitting 300,000 to 1, that's insane. And I actually watched Digital Trends' video of his review about a couple weeks ago of the U8N, and he says it's dangerously close to OLED. And right now, if you want the 65-inch size, the U8N is on sale for $1,100. Or if you want the 55-inch, which I wouldn't recommend the 55-inch because you're getting a lot less brightness and a lot less local dimming zones. Not like a crazy amount, but the 65-inch and the 75-inch both can do up to 3,000 nits of peak brightness while also maintaining close to 2,000 local dimming zones. The 55-inch U8N is only capable of 672. Now, that might still sound like a lot, and it truthfully is, but why would you waste like a few $100 less from a 65-inch when you're going to get better contrast and more local dimming zones to help minimize the blooming and halo effect around bright objects on a dark background? So why even do that? But here's another thing that makes it even more interesting. The 75-inch is actually not a VA panel. It's actually an IPS/ADS panel. So you're not going to get as good contrast, but you're going to get like better viewing angles and whatnot. But other than that, honestly, the 65-inch size is probably the best option. It's a VA panel that's giving you nice rich contrast, nice colors, the best brightness, the best price, and you get a still decently pretty big picture. And a pretty big screen size is what I mean to say. So honestly, when it comes to the Hisense U8N, I do think the 65-inch size is your best choice. So the 75-inch is going to be good, but you're losing contrast from being a VA panel to a IPS panel, but you're still getting, the brightness, the local dimming zones, and all that. And then with a 55-inch, you don't get as bright, and you have fewer local dimming zones. So in reality, the 65-inch size is honestly the best option when it comes to the Hisense U8 in. And that's the only size TVs that we personally get for ourselves. Like, that's what size that is. That's the size of all 4 of our OLEDs. And that's the size of our Sonys as well as our TCL. And those are the sizes we're going to continue to only get. Because honestly, we don't even really have a big of a place. Well, not yet anyway. But as you know, we don't even have a big of a place to even get a TV massively big up to like 75 or 85 inches. So we just stick with 65 inch from here on out. But honestly, I have never been disappointed with either OLED or mini LED. I see the advantages and disadvantages between both. OLEDs give you the best clarity and rich colors. Mini LED gives you the best brightness and the best HDR highlights that pop. And honestly, other than that, when it comes to gaming, you're almost getting literally the exact same input latency, minus just a few more milliseconds on the mini LED TVs, but not really, you're not talking about like going up to like 20 milliseconds or plus more that, you know, is going to make a big difference. You're only talking about somewhere between 5 to almost around 1 or 2 milliseconds more. Literally, that's all you're going to see. So in reality, there's no difference. You're still going to get an incredible, responsive feel when gaming. You're still going to get the lowest input latency possible no matter what. No matter if this TV that we have behind us, like it's 15 milliseconds at 60 hertz on all resolutions, like I still don't even have some sort of delay. Even playing on this TV, even going from an OLED that has lower input latency, like this TV definitely does not. Like I have the best experience no matter which one I go to, is what I'm trying to say. So no matter what you go to, honestly, mini LED and OLED, like, I think they're the best. I personally do not think the TVs can get any better than this, because OLEDs definitely have the best, richest colors, contrast, whatever, and mini LED has the best brightness and freaking just like HDR pop and all that. Like, it don't matter which one you go to, both are going to be incredibly gorgeous. And if you are a hardcore gamer, you will be not disappointed with either. It doesn't matter if you go with a Samsung QD OLED or a Samsung Neo QLED or a LG OLED or a Hisense Mini LED, QD Mini LED, I should say, or a TCL QD Mini LED. You're going to get nice colors, nice picture, and awesome gaming performance and lowest input latency possible. Now, the only other thing that I did forget to mention with OLEDs is that they do have a quicker response time. But there is some people that don't want that because it does create stutter, especially if you play at games at like 30 frames a second rather than 60 and 120. Especially that's what most developers make their games on still on current generation consoles, which is kind of a bit fishy, and I know a lot of people want at least 60 FPS, but even then, developers are still making the games run at 4K 30 frames a second on even the newest PS5 and Xbox Series X and whatever. So, there's some people that would not want an OLED because of stutter. So, if you go with an LED TV, it's not going to be as bad when it comes to stutter at playing at lower frame rates like 30 frames a second rather than playing at 60 or 120. But no matter what the odds are, no matter what, both types of TVs are going to give you the best picture, and if you are a hardcore gamer, you won't be disappointed with either. Now, personally, I'm going to say Samsung is definitely our favorite when it comes to OLED, and then TCL is our favorite when it comes to LED TVs, because honestly, they are freaking the best brands out there, especially when it comes to gaming. Now, there are some people that will say LG is the best, and then I know there are some people that will stand up for Hisense. They are good too. and they rock. Like, LG and Hisense absolutely kick freaking butt. But I just like Samsung because they have the best for gaming performance out there with so many gaming features, and now TCL is now catching up with it and is even having, in some cases, some advantages over Samsung, like their mini LEDs are getting brighter, and because they're QD mini LEDs, they're actually getting really nice, rich, vivid, vibrant colors that is almost close to a QD OLED type of panel while being an LED. So Samsung and TCL is our two favorite brands, on top of Sony being in there between those two, tied with Samsung, because Sony, even though we've not bought like a super premium Sony, but we've only bought their X90 series TVs, at least every X90 series from 2020 since then, and the X90L, which is the TV that we're just about to finish off with our leasing by paying it off, it's also still incredibly good. And I am not disappointed even going from a QD OLED to it. But mini LED, OLED, honestly, they are the best. I don't think the TVs can get any better than this. It doesn't matter if you go for a mini LED or an OLED, you're going to be appreciated with its picture and just awesome gaming performance, no matter what you go with, whether if it is an OLED or a mini LED. So, mini LED and OLEDs, I think, are our favorite type of TV panels out there. And I think TVs cannot get any better than that, except for micro LED. But that's about it. So, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this video. So, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to this channel, and leave us a comment down in the comment section down below of your thoughts. If which TV panel do you prefer? If you prefer an OLED, or if you prefer mini LED because of its brightness, or if you prefer OLED for the best, richest colors and contrast, or if you prefer mini LED for brightness and HDR pop. So just let us know which TV kind you prefer, whether if it's OLED or mini LED. But that's going to pretty much do it. This is Tech and Gaming Reviews. Hope you all enjoyed it. Rate, comment, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. Peace!